Hello, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome back to the show. Anthony here.
And James here, and this episode's for the ladies.
We're
doing the romance episode. Just kidding. I love a lot of these movies on this list.
We're looking very cute today, too. We got our date outfits on.
I guess. I wore a shirt with flowers.
I've seen you go on dates with that shirt before.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
I haven't worn this.
That was your go-to date shirt. In case
Not a go-to date shirt.
For anyone not listening, he's wearing a shirt with roses on it.
It wasn't a go-to date shirt. It was. I have multiple shirts. I have more than one piece of clothing that I wear out to impress women. Okay.
Impress is a funny word to use.
I have bombers and Henleys that I like to wear.
That's true. You do like your Henleys.
But no, I haven't worn this shirt since the last Valentine's Day episode.
It's a new tradition.
But today actually is Valentine's Day, so we're doing some of our favorite romance films, and also we took a poll on Instagram and also accumulated the most requested romance relationship movies that our fans came up with, and also added those to the list as well.
And cheesy rom-coms are like my guilty pleasure. I love rom-coms, but there are a lot of really great movies about romance and falling in love and falling out of love, and we added a bunch of those to our list. So we took both what our fans had for the vote that we put on, as well as a few of our favorites as well. So
yeah, I mean, some of these are. This list is really good. I think.
I think y'all are gonna like it.
We curated it. Our fans helped. It's very solid.
And I was surprised about what the number one pick was. We'll get into that in a sec. But before the list, we also had, because we did an Instagram poll asking what everyone's favorite romance movies were, and we got some funny responses as well.
Oh, let's hear this.
We got The Evil Dead, Die Hard, Juno and Anthony, Gone Girl, Deliverance,
Oh my God,
Requiem for a Dream,
jeez,
Audition, Marriage Story, and Revolutionary Road.
The latter is just an hour of screaming at each other. Now, Valentine's Day, it occurs every February 4th, and across the United States and other places around the world, it's full of candy, flowers, gifts are exchanged between loved ones. But what is Valentine's Day even? Where does it come from? Do you know?
I think it comes from, does it come from companies, corporations trying to sell shit?
Well, I think that's what it turned into.
Yeah.
You know, that's what most holidays have turned into.
Also, like the holiday, I have no idea.
It's actually, people believe it's tied to Christianity, and it celebrates the martyrdom, or recognizes the martyrdom of Saint Valentine. And so there's Saint Valentine or Valentinus, all of whom were martyred.
It's murder.
But it's still shrouded in mystery, according to history.com.
This is a true crime podcast now.
Valentine's Day, a story of its patron saint, is shrouded in mystery.
And the bloodshed that it began.
We do know that February has long been celebrated as a month of romance, and St. Valentine's Day, as we know it today, contains vestiges of both Christian and ancient Roman tradition. But who was St. Valentine, and how did he become associated with this ancient rite? And who murdered him on that freeway?
I'm interested. I'm hooked. Who murdered him on that freeway? His body was found in a ditch.
All right, so the origins of Valentine's Day, a pagan festival in February. This is according to history.com. Okay, so it's pretty official stuff.
Not Wikipedia.
Well, some believe that Valentine's Day is celebrated in the middle of February to commemorate the anniversary of Valentine's death or burial, which probably occurred around AD 270. Others claim that the Christian church may have decided to place St. Valentine's feast day in the middle of February in an effort to Christianize the pagan celebration of Lupercalia. Celebrates the Ides of February or February 15th. Lupercalia was a fertility festival dedicated to Phanes, the Roman god of agriculture, as well as to the Roman founders of Romulus and Remus. So it's pretty interesting. So a festival about fertility.
I'm just curious how long this is going to go.
I thought it was a fun background story. It's on history.com, so again.
You told us. So yeah.
So you know it's good.
Are they a new sponsor?
No. This is information, man. So it's interesting that it stemmed from a fertility festival and stuff. I was curious myself.
So it's an interesting background.
And then
Thank you for enlightening
it's been turned into a capitalistic holiday full of dudes spending so much money for their girlfriends and boyfriends on stuff.
Yeah. I spent plenty of dollars on Valentine's, but I remember Valentine's as a kid, and you got the little cards.
Yeah, in class.
Yeah, in class, and you passed the cards to all your Valentines.
Like your parents made you made a goodie bag for everyone in class.
But like picking the right cards were awesome because they all had like different cartoons and characters on them, and so you had to pick. You were like, I was always very excited about getting like the perfect Valentine's theme.
It was like Halloween. It was like pre-Halloween. It
Yeah.
was like a second Halloween. It was like Halloween breakfast in February rather than October.
And if you didn't get any, you were depressed.
But you get worse candy on Valentine's Day. You get like sweet tarts and Smarties and stuff like that, which is fine, but like it's not like
I don't
Snickers
like
or
the
anything.
sweet candy.
So, anyways, that's a little background, according to History.com, on the history of Valentine's Day for Saint Valentine or Lupercalia.
Use our coupon code.
Use our coupon code at History.com. Raiders at checkout. All right. Now, before we continue, the best way to support Raiders of the Lost Podcast is to become a patron at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast, where you get awesome perks like our podcast schedule, personalized videos, Patreon shoutouts on the show, which we will be doing on this episode, so stay tuned for the very end to hear your name shouted out if you're a top-tier patron or Godfather tier patron, and weekly bonus episodes every week, which I just said weekly. We just launched our podcast masterclass online course, so for anyone who wants to start a podcast or wants to improve their current podcast, our 22-chapter, 46-video lesson course will give you all of the secrets behind the scenes of our show. The link is podcastmasterclass.teachable.com, or go to our website, raidersoftheLostPodcast.com. It's right there on the homepage. You can also see all of our sources of content, our movie posters, our custom merch. Follow, subscribe wherever you're listening. Thanks for tuning in around the world. Now let's get into our romance films.
Do you want to get into the list?
Let's do it. So what's the first movie you got on here?
So I was surprised to see, and it is a very good movie, the number one movie by far that was chosen by our fans for the best romance movie is About Time, which was directed by Richard Curtis and stars Donald Gleason, Rachel McAdams, Bill Nighy, Tom Hollander, and Margot Robbie in a very early supporting role. And this movie's really terrific. It has a 7.8 IMDb rating, and 7.8 is a really terrific rating on IMDb. Anything close to 8 for a movie is phenomenal, and that means it's universally loved. Although its critical reviews are pretty lukewarm. It has 69% on Rotten Tomatoes and 55 on Metacritic, so critics weren't as warm to this film, but I just think that they were completely wrong because this film is very endearing, full of heart, very romantic and touching. It's about a guy named Tim Lake, and when he turns 21, his father reveals a family secret. The men in their family can travel through time. Although he can't change history, Tim resolves to improve his life by getting a girlfriend. He meets Mary, falls in love, and finally wins her heart via time travel and a little cunning. However, as his unusual life progresses, Tim finds that his special ability can't shield him from those he loves from the problems of ordinary life. I think it was just a really unique, original take on romance. Donald Gleason and Rachel McAdams are pitch perfect together. I think it's a wonderful film.
Yeah, Rachel McAdams is like in every romantic film you could think
about
of.
time travel.
But About Time,
she's in the time traveler's
true.
wife
About
too.
Time is kind of like if Chris Nolan made a rom-com.
Yeah,
It's like that kind of feel.
and the wife didn't die.
Yeah.
or wasn't already dead.
But like if Chris Nolan made it, then Bill Nighy, his father, would end up being him. Like he would have been himself as older or something like that. But it's really good because, you know, if you have time travel abilities, like obviously you're going to try to enhance your life as much as possible. And Tim in the film uses it to find love, which is very touching.
Very sweet.
But also it's like he's kind of cheating. And then throughout the film, he learns that it's better to not even use this ability and just do it straight edge, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great film.
I'd be like doing coolest stuff, but like...
well, the thing is, in the power, you can't change you can't alter events. So, I mean, that would just mess everything up if
Yeah,
you do
it's
that.
true.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't, you can't return the Infinity Stones, or I don't know.
Can't like win the lottery.
Yeah, you can't like travel back in time, see who wins the World Series, and bet $100,000 on it.
Oh man, that's lame.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it is what it is. Same thing with Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, you're right.
With the sports book.
You're right. Good call.
Yeah.
That would ruin everything. It'd be a whole new timeline, new dimension.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to the next film, Titanic, which you could argue is probably the greatest romance film of all time, the greatest love story. I recommend it. Came out in 1997. Check it out. James Cameron. You can read some articles about it on History.com too. James Cameron made this
What's
masterpiece.
funny is you actually can, because
I'm sure. Stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, obviously. IMDb 7.8. Rotten Tomatoes 89%. Metacritic 75. And a 17-year-old aristocrat falls in love with a kind but poor artist aboard the luxurious, ill-fated RMS Titanic. Obviously, not based on a true story of this romance, but the Titanic was obviously a real event.
Yeah, James Cameron basically, he always wanted to film the Titanic and have a reason to actually make a film about it, and he wrote the romance as a way of him just being able to go down underwater and film it. That was the entire intention for him to make the movie, to actually just go into the Titanic in like the little submarine crafts.
Yeah, because that's like an obsession with him is after he made Titanic and then he kind of just disappeared from filmmaking, he was doing a lot of like the underwater sea discovery, exploration, building subs. We've talked about that on our Avatar episode. And because there's 15 years between those two movies. It's 1997, then 2009, I think. Avatar was, so 12 years between his movies.
Wow.
And he was just doing all sorts of stuff like that. But, Titanic is incredible. We have the story of Jack falling in love with Rose, and it's a love that's not that can't happen. It's very Shakespearean. He doesn't come from the world that she comes from. He's not good enough for her. The family doesn't want her. She's supposed to be engaged to Billy Zane.
The doomed romance. Yeah, it's always great
because but then he ends up staying, and they choose each other, and they,
spoilers.
I think we've all seen Titanic.
Yeah. But
we all know what happens.
It's the second highest grossing film of all time, or third?
I think now it's
third.
It's like top 5, third probably, because now Avatar. Avengers Endgame is number 2.
Okay, gotcha.
And then probably Titanic.
Gotcha. But I mean, yeah, this is a wonderful film. We saw it a few times in theaters because everybody saw it multiple times. That's why it made so much money. But it is, without a doubt, one of the greatest love stories of all time.
Yeah, we used to watch this a lot when we were kids.
All time. Next up, we have La La Land, which came out in 2016, directed by Damien Chazelle, starring Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone in their third collaboration together. And this has great ratings. IMDb has an 8.0. Rotten Tomatoes is a 91% fresh score, and then the Metacritic score is 94, which is most impressive. It's very difficult for a film to get over 90 on that critic rating.
For real, yeah.
While navigating their careers in Los Angeles, a pianist and an actress fall in love while attempting to reconcile their aspirations for the future. This is a really terrific musical. It's a very accurate LA movie. It feels like a fun LA movie for anyone who lives there, like from the traffic to the music to like the bars and stuff to everyone who is there is in the industry in some capacity of trying to get entertainment.
My life is basically Seb's. Like I live the same life as Sebastian.
Yeah, except you're not jazz pianist or Ryan Gosling.
Everything else is the same. But La La Land is a special movie. I mean, this thing, it lost to Moonlight at Best Picture, but that was the year that they accidentally read La La Land on stage, which was horrible. But La La Land is incredible. I could have seen that winning Best Picture. The music is sensational. Justin Hurwitz, who does Damien Chazelle's music, is like his John Williams to Steven Spielberg. A ton of beautiful music in this. The theme of them two, of Sebastian and what's her name in the movie? I can't remember.
Mia
and Sebastian is beautiful, and just filming all over LA, the Griffith Observatory, just random streets that, I mean, if you live in LA, you recognize a bunch of different locations, and it's a really great love story, but it really ends up being more than a love story. It's more of two life journeys that they want to be together, but in order to achieve their ultimate dreams, they have to be apart and go separate paths in separate ways. And that sometimes is the greatest love of all, is to let that person go to be able to achieve what they truly need to accomplish in life, which is really beautiful.
It's a great film. Great production design and use of color as well. That was a great summary.
Thanks, man.
I'm touched.
I have moments.
You do.
Sometimes, like, I feel like I was out of body just now. I blacked out. I don't know what happened. Don't
so
know
much.
Wait, I was talking?
You talked about Apocalypse Now for 20 minutes. And I was like, whoa, where are we?
I played the Ride of the Valkyrie on my phone the whole time.
Next up is, you say the next one.
Yeah, can I go?
Yeah, you can go.
Next up, we have Silver Linings Playbook. This came out in 2012, directed by David O. Russell, starring Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, and Robert De Niro. IMDb, this is a 7.7. Rotten Tomatoes, 92%. Metacritic, 81. After a stint in a mental institution, former teacher Pat Solitano moves back in with his parents and tries to reconcile with his ex-wife. Things get more challenging when Pat meets Tiffany, a mysterious girl with problems of her own. And this, I think, is a perfect example of a modern dramatic romantic film, because like movies on this list, like When Harry Met Sally and stuff like that, they're like past comedies and romance films that did really well, and it's that era, but this is like a new era, I think, of romantic comedy.
It's one of my favorite movies of the last decade. It's really sensational. It was during David O. Russell's peak of, he did The Fighter, Silver Linings Playbook, and American Hustle, and Joy within like 5 years. He was just turning out these great films, and also he started his collaborations with Jennifer Lawrence in this film, Bradley Cooper as well, and he was coming off The Fighter, And I just think this movie is really brilliant. It's so funny. It's so terrific. Amazing characters. I just love everything about it. I've seen it many times, and every time, I just love watching it. It has the backdrop of football, and this really changed my opinion of Bradley Cooper as an actor. When I saw this, I was like, okay, this guy is legit.
It wasn't Wedding Crashers?
It was not Wedding Crashers. Definitely not. Limitless, I was like, oh, he's pretty good. And then with Silver Linings Playbook, I'm like, oh, this guy's awesome.
Hangover, he's good, but it's like, that's like a stereotypical character that a lot of people could have played.
Yeah,
so I know
exactly.
what you mean, but this was like, wow, Bradley Cooper can act his ass off. He's really talented. And Jennifer Lawrence won an Oscar for this movie. It's really great, very emotional, but also the look that it takes into mental health and the importance of mental health awareness. This film, I think, was one of the early recent films in Hollywood to shed a light on that entire area in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, it's great. Great job. A lot of improvisation, and, dialogue was improvised, like in the filmmaking was improvised. Like David O. Russell, he found his style with The Fighter and Silver Linings Playbook.
And I love the football backdrop. We love football. We love Patriots, obviously. Excuse me.
And anything Tom Brady does.
Not huge Eagles fans, obviously.
Yeah, they beat us in the Super Bowl.
I still like the backdrop of that kind of popular culture, sports culture, as a little thematic element throughout the film, telling the story and the relationship it has with each of the characters, even the doctor, even Chris Tucker's character, Robert De Niro's character, his brother, all of them.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Out of the playoffs.
But she's making Krabby Snacks and homemades.
It's really funny, though. It's a funny movie.
Very funny.
But yeah, I love the performances from Bradley and Jennifer Lawrence in this. Really, really great.
Next up, we have Her, which came out in 2013, directed by Spike Jonze, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson, and Rooney Mara. This film has an 8.0 IMDb rating, a 94% Rotten Tomatoes score, and a 91% Metacritic score. So excellent responses from critics and fans alike. In a near future, a lonely writer develops an unlikely relationship with an operating system designed to meet his every need. Now, this film is extremely powerful, and for a movie about a man developing a relationship with a computer, it is insane how touching, heartfelt, and authentic to real life it is.
Samantha's more than a computer.
Yeah.
Okay, man. So take that back.
James is in love with Samantha.
She's an AI. I think this is the best movie on this list.
Whoa.
Hands down.
Here we go.
I think this movie is a masterpiece. It's one of my favorite this century. It's like in my top 25, possibly all time for favorite films. I love Her so much. And one of my favorite episodes we've ever done was when we did Lost in Translation and Her together as not a versus, but like a complimentary movie episode because they're so connected emotionally and from the filmmakers. But Her is beautiful, It's about more than love almost because it also dabbles into the science fiction realm, artificial intelligence, but also what it means to be human. It questions a lot of stuff like that in the film. A lot of deep themes on the cusp of it being also a great romantic film. And the thing about love is we learn that it doesn't have to be between two people. It can be between two, like an artificial intelligence and a human being in this film, but the artificial intelligence becomes something more, Samantha. And I think that Scarlett Johansson did a phenomenal job for just having her voice in the film. And then Joaquin Phoenix, this is such an underrated performance. It's out of the norm for his popular roles. He's known obviously for like Joker and like Gladiator, these like really like eccentric characters or dark brooding characters.
Disturbed characters.
Yeah, and like something really incredible about them that like is fascinating. Whereas his character Theo in Her is kind of just like an every person who's kind of just missing, lost in life, looking for love, looking for something to complete him, and it's about finding that and then losing it, but also finding it again.
Yeah, he plays a sweetheart in this movie. It's something that he had never done before, and he was coming off of I'm Not There, and he did this in The Master, and I think that really those two movies were really, really important to his filmography, coming off like that whole mess of the I'm Not There thing whole situation.
And Spike Jonze is an excellent filmmaker. I mean, he's had these skills for such a long time, even like with the Jackass stuff when he was directing those videos. But even like look at his music videos. I watched Sabotage, the Beastie Boys music video I haven't seen that in like a decade. I watched it yesterday for randomly. It's still so funny and still so good, but he's developed his techniques filmmaking-wise so well. He won Best Original Screenplay for this at the Oscars Academy Awards, which was much deserved. I think he's one of my favorite directors working today. Great storyteller. This is just, I think, in my opinion, one of the greatest love stories ever told in film.
You heard it here first, folks. It's a great movie.
It
great,
is.
great movie.
And if you haven't heard that episode, definitely check it out. It was a good
it's one of
time.
our best ones. It really is.
But you had to have seen Lost in Translation. We go back and forth big time.
big time.
Big time, kid. Next up, we have the Before trilogy. This features Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. Before Sunrise is an 8.1 on IMDb. Before Sunset's an 8.1, and Before Midnight is a 7.9. These were directed by Richard Linklater, and they star Ethan Hawke, Julie Delpy, who also co-wrote the scripts with Richard Linklater as well.
And they actually were nominated for Oscars for the second one. Not the first one, though. They weren't recognized as co-writers. But this is a collaboration of a trio of people. They write the stories together. Both Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, when they're not making these, they keep notebooks and they keep ideas for what their characters will be saying, topics they could talk about, and things that happen in their lives. And then they all three of them reunite with their ideas, and they work out the stories for each film. And I just think it's a really genius idea. And people, when they talk about the greatest trilogies of all time, this is left out of every single list. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are unaware of this being such an amazing trilogy. Every one of these films, just from the IMDb ratings, they are absolute fantastic, high-class, high-caliber films. Like, these are some of the best romance films of all time, each and every one of them, in their all unique ways. None of them, it's hard to even pick one that's better than any of the other three, but they all tell different things about love, from the spark of an early romance to getting back on the wagon of a romance. And then the third one is about we've been married for 10 years, let's try and keep this going as best we can. So it shows the stages of these characters' lives, very much like his film Boyhood, which he did, Linklater did with Ethan Hawke. But this is a similar kind of idea. They weren't really planning it that way, they just kept doing it as they went along. And I can't wait. I hope to make a fourth one to see where these two characters will be 13 years from Before Midnight.
It's about love over time, and I can't think of another filmmaker that's made stories not just like the Before trilogy, but also like Boyhood, where we're following characters with the same story over a long period of time. Boyhood, how long would that take him? Like 15 years
15
to
years,
make something
yeah.
like that, because we're following the course of this boy into adolescence, into adulthood. And this is the same kind of situation where we're following this couple from meeting and then being in love and married and then having kids. And
I think it's 25 years in total, maybe a little bit more from first
it's
to
gotta be
last.
something like that.
Yeah.
But it's really beautiful because it's so relevant to. Obviously, I've never been in a 20-year relationship, but we have parents, and we watched long-term relationships and how they have ups and downs, just like these films, especially the last one. The original, the first one, Before Sunrise, is really beautiful. How they meet, it's like a fairy tale. It's very European style filmmaking. It takes place in Europe as well, and it's really beautiful. And then
It doesn't have that much conflict in it.
yeah. Then Sunset is a little different. They're both in relationships. And then they start to get back together. And then Before Midnight's after they've been married and they've had kids. And it tells the story of their relationship and how it's changed so much there. And all the mistakes they wish they didn't make in their personal lives, before their relationships, out of their relationships, and in their relationship, and trying to stay happy and keep the boat going.
What's so cool is that when I watched Before Midnight, the third one, when I saw it for the first time, I was like, it felt like I was watching a couple that were friends of mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like seeing them for the first time in years and seeing how their life is. And, what I really love about these films is they don't have plots. It's just these two characters talking the entire time. And it's endless conversations. These just a few scenes in total from movie to movie. But, I mean, I know times are changing nowadays. A lot of people spend a lot of time on their phones or on video games or, watching Netflix. But, before all the technology, if you were in a relationship or you lived with people or had close friends, you spend most of your time talking about all sorts of things. And I think that's what I really adore about these films, is it feels like just two people having conversations like you and I do on the show.
It's really beautiful. The first film, they meet on the train, and then Jesse, played by Ethan Hawke, convinces Celine, played by Julia Delpy, to Julie Delpy to get off the train and miss her flight back home and just spend the day with him there. And then they depart. And there's a joke later on. It's like, why didn't we exchange information? Like, that was so dumb of us. We thought we'd just connect some random other time. And then Before Sunset is about, he wrote a book about his night with her. And they find each other again in Paris again. And then, again, the third one is after they've been together and married and have kids and what's happened to their lives. And they have just a very reminiscent experience about, meeting and the life they've lived now together and what the future is going to look like with them.
Yeah, and the marriage is complicated because Ethan Hawke's character, Jesse, he has a kid with his ex-wife in America, and he's living in Europe with his new wife, Celine, and their kids. So it's become a complex situation. I just really love the entire trilogy. Richard Linklater is an extremely underrated director. And, Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy are terrific writers and actors. The acting in this film and the directing is very underrated because what they do is a lot of long takes. You'll have a scene that's like 8 minutes long, and the camera doesn't cut. They'll walk through multiple environments and hold this entire conversation, and it feels improvised, but the entire thing is perfectly planned out because, the camera's blocking, with the camera blocking and the actor blocking, moving through sets. It has to be done perfectly. And they make it look really effortless, which is why I think it kind of flies under the radar in terms of filmmaking.
Now, for Valentine's Day, we're going to do a special little gift for all of you if you use our coupon code at manscaped.com, Raiders of the Lost at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. We'll send you a personal video from us saying thanks and saying hi if you use that coupon code. So just go to manscaped.com, get whatever you want from that site. We've been using their products forever. At checkout, Raiders of the Lost podcast to get that deal. They just launched their ultra premium collection, which has deodorant, body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, hydrating body spray, lip balm. We've been talking about their Lawnmower 4.0 groomer, and this is the perfect stuff for guys. So if you got a man in your life and, maybe you guys did something special for Valentine's Day, you're doing something special tonight, get him something special from Manscaped. I recommend. And if you use our coupon code, we will send you a video from us.
I love the lip balm and deodorant. I use it every day.
Online privacy is becoming more of a necessity every day, and less than $4 a month is a small price to pay for online protection. Our new sponsor, NordVPN, has you covered. Use our link, nordvpn.com/Raiders, or use the code Raiders at checkout to get up to 70% off your NordVPN plan, plus 1 additional month for free. A VPN is a virtual private network that gives you online privacy and anonymity by creating a private network from a public internet connection. All our movie and TV lovers listening, NordVPN also gives you the ability to access streaming services like Netflix, HBO, Hulu, as well as TV and movie content libraries from other countries at no extra price. NordVPN protects your personal data, hides your IP address when you use the internet, and lets you bypass censorship, content blocks, and website restrictions. Plus, you can use it from multiple devices. It's equivalent to buying a cup of coffee every month, a small price to pay for premium cybersecurity and access to vast amounts of entertaining content. There's also a 30-day money-back guarantee if NordVPN is not for you, so there's no risk. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/Raiders or use the code Raiders at checkout to get up to 70% off your NordVPN plan plus 1 additional month for free. I'm telling you, I didn't think that a VPN was worth it. I barely even knew what it was. But now that we've been using it, I am never going back to not using a VPN. They gave us a 1-year free subscription for all of our accounts and everything. So we've been on that for about a month now. And thank you so much to NordVPN for sponsoring the show.
Do you love movie posters? James and I do. And the best place to get your posters online today is at movieposters.com. Use our special promo code Raiders10 to get 10% off your order today. James and I just got a brand new shipment of posters from movieposters.com on our set. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that I have The Color of Money, Boogie Nights, The Great Escape, and James got Hateful Eight. You have Psycho, and you also have Dune,
Had
of
to
course.
get my Timmy right here.
Oh, yeah.
His giant face next to me. It's great.
These posters are high quality, the best printing available. They have all sorts of sizes, framing, backlighting, whatever your poster needs are, movieposters.com can handle it, as well as an arsenal of pretty much every film and TV show imaginable. Again, head on over to movieposters.com and use our special promo code Raiders10 to get 10% off your order today.
How about we head on into our intermission, and then we'll finish up our romance episode.
Sounds lovely.
Let's begin with our movie quote competition. Now, mine is from a fan, Marin Bedlisi. This is the quote. When you're going to shoot, shoot, don't talk.
Sounds familiar. Say it again.
When you're going to shoot, shoot, don't talk.
I feel like I know this, but I can't picture it.
It's Die Hard. No.
Oh,
No, it's different.
it's worded differently.
Yeah.
I don't know then.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh.
And that's why I said I can picture it too,
Yeah.
because I'm looking at the poster behind your face.
You gave me a hint. That was like a Mugatu laugh.
He's exactly right. He's absolutely right. You know I get farty and bloated with the foamy latte.
What is this? A center for ants? Okay.
Hansel's so hot right now.
Here's my quote. I will not rest until I have you holding a Coke, wearing your own shoe, playing a Sega game featuring you, while singing your own song in a new commercial starring you, broadcast during the Super Bowl in a game that you are winning, and I will not sleep until that happens. I'll give you 15 minutes to call me back.
Wow. I don't know if this is right, but it sounds like the character of Matthew McConaughey in Tropic Thunder, the agent.
No.
How he'll like go through any ends to get him the TiVo.
What do you mean you don't have TiVo?
It's in the contract. I don't know.
Jerry Maguire.
Oh my God.
It's like, I think it's like the opening scene when he's trying to get a new high draft QB.
The quarterback.
Yeah, the
that
quarterback.
goes to the other agent.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah.
That's the spiel he gives him.
Oh man, it's a good movie.
It's a good
All
movie.
right, now let's move on to our movie release year. Guess this one. Gigli.
Gigli?
Gigli.
Can you say that again?
Gigli.
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 2004.
2003.
Damn it. Oh, man.
Gigli.
Classic. Okay, guess this movie release year. A Few Good Men.
1997.
92.
Wow, it's old.
Yep.
It's an old movie. Sometimes, yeah.
Old.
Sometimes I forget how old Tom is.
Yeah. He's been doing it for a long
That's
time.
like it's such a big movie.
Yeah.
And you see, he seems like he's in the middle of his career at that point.
He's great in it.
But yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, he's still super young. I think he was like late 20s in that.
Okay, movie pop quiz time.
Let's
Now,
go.
just give me a ballpark answer, because I don't expect you to get it exactly right.
I'm
but
nervous.
How much money did the 50 Shades of Grey films gross?
In total?
Yeah.
There's 3 movies?
Yeah, so I'll give you like $100 million leeway.
Okay. So
Above or under.
So 3 films. It's definitely a lot, but not as much as Twilight. I'm gonna go with 50 Shades franchise gross 1.2 billion.
I'll give it to you, $1.3 billion.
Yes. Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
Nice job,
That's
man.
close.
Good guess.
Thanks.
Nice job. Wow, man. Listen to this guy.
I know my stuff.
I don't know where he gets it.
I don't know
where he
either,
gets it.
man. I don't know
It
either.
just comes to you. All right, let's move into.
I have a quiz too.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry.
Jeez. Okay, ready?
Uh-huh.
Tom Cruise spoofed what famous character in this 2002 movie?
Tom Cruise spoofed this famous character in a 2002 movie. So he just has a cameo then, right?
It's a cameo, yeah.
What's an early Tom Cruise cameo? Like all I can think
I don't
of
know.
is
You tell
Rex
me, man.
Goodman and
You tell me. It's Les Grossman.
I mean like
Probably.
Grossman. Did I say Rex?
Rex Goodman. You just made up a name. Rex Goodman. Who the fuck is Rex
Oh,
Goodman?
I was thinking Dodgeball, White Goodman. Rex Goodman. The confidence I had of that not being
Yeah, it's classic character Rex Goodman.
Yeah, it's classic Stanley Mikeson. All right, Tom Cruise cameo in 2002. What movie?
As a famous character, he spoofed. He spoofed the character.
I don't know.
Austin Powers.
In what movie? Oh,
In Austin Powers. He
The-
plays Austin Powers in the movie version of Austin
yeah,
Powers.
that's right.
Yeah.
The movie set and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that sequence. That's pretty good.
It's a great opening.
All right, haters. What do we got? Any unsubscribe. We got haters.
We got a couple of haters. We got a couple.
Who we got? Let's hear it.
So I mentioned I made a Christopher Nolan Dunkirk clip or something, and then someone wrote, "Oh man, hopefully Nolan gets nominated. No, hopefully not Nolan wins an Oscar for Best Director for Oppenheimer." And I wrote, "We'll see." But he didn't even get nominated for Inception, Interstellar, Dark Knight, or Memento. And then some bozo, Horny Enchiladas is his name. So a very cool guy. He wrote, "I think you boys need to get fact-checked. Nolan was nominated for Best Director for Dunkirk and Best Picture for Dunkirk." And I was like, bro, I didn't even say that because I knew he got nominated for those. So get out of town, bro.
Get out of town.
Get out of
Horny
town.
enchilada.
Horny, what kind of name is that?
Go have relations with your enchiladas. Get out of here.
And then there was another hater. I don't want to say his name because I think he might report us, but I posted a clip about A Quiet Place, and you were talking about how John Krasinski was unsure about taking on the project, but then once he read the script, he got on board when he learned that it was about a family, and then he fell in love with the project and wrote and directed the film. And then some bozo wrote, "Wow, John Krasinski wrote and directed A Quiet Place. Thanks for the research." And it's like, bro, come on.
That's not what the clip is
That's
about.
not what the clip
All I
is
said
about.
was that he didn't want to do it.
Yeah. So there's a couple of angry dudes out there.
Very frustrated.
But
maybe him and sexy
Sexy
enchilada
enchiladas
should get together.
Yeah.
Get their frustrations out.
Yeah, they can just berate the internet fit gods in there and together. But the fun fact is that John Krasinski, he wrote and directed A Quiet Place, but he didn't write the original screenplay. It was already written by two guys who sold it to Michael Bay's company. And then John Krasinski got on board, rewrote the script to his liking, and directed it.
But also because all he knew about it was it's a story about this family that can't speak, and you have to figure out why. And that's what
intrigued him to read the
and that's what the
script.
clip was about. It's like, that's kind of an interesting little fact that, like, figure out why this family can't speak or make any noise. It's a horror movie, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for looking up who directed the movie and made a video about it. Not impressed. Not impressed. All right. Anyways, let's move on to people who have nice things to say because we're all about positivity here. This is a great 5-star review from Confused Breakfast Podcast, another movie podcast. We're friends with these peeps.
Oh, yeah, they're a great podcast.
Yeah, so these fellas are the most knowledgeable movie podcast hosts out there. Funny, informative, thoughtful, and expands into so many different decades and genres. Listen to this podcast. Thanks, pals.
We should collaborate with them.
Should really appreciate that, for sure. On this day in film history, today is Valentine's Day, February 4th. And I got other information not from history.com here, okay?
Okay. Is it from Ancestry.com?
No, it's from
WebMD.
onthisdayinfilm.com. onthisday.com. That's my go-to site. In 1931, the original Dracula film starring Bela Lugosi as the titular vampire is released. In 1963, 8½, directed by Federico Fellini, is released.
Italia.
In 1991, The Silence of the Lambs is released.
Wow, nice.
In 1992, Wayne's World is released. So that's a bunch of
Great
We haven't had a good one.
Those are two of my favorite movies.
January is always weak and early February is weak, but that's finally we have a good day in film history. We've had some weak ones last month. Sorry about that. It's not my fault. And happy birthday to Simon Pegg.
Happy birthday, bud.
My streaming
He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah. Simon, dear friend of the show. Yeah. My streaming recommendation today is My Big Fat Greek Wedding on HBO Max.
That's a great movie. There's a hole in this cake. That's a really good movie. That is one of the most successful movies of all time based on return on investment.
Yeah, made bank.
Yeah, and the woman who stars in it, she wrote it.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Spec script. She sold it and then she starred in it.
That was huge.
Over 300 million.
We were like 9 or 10, I think, something like that.
That took the America by storm.
Because Mom loved it,
Yeah.
and then when it came out, it was
a
like huge hit.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. It's a very funny movie. Why don't we have that on this list?
I don't know.
We gotta put it on this list. All right, we're gonna add it.
Should we add it?
Yeah, we think we should add it. My streaming recommendation.
But that's like a wedding movie. That's like a whole
It's
different.
very romantic and it's very funny.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
We'll spitball My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
But my streaming recommendation is Super Troopers on Amazon Prime. But we'll do. Hold on, I'll read the next one.
We can dive right into it.
Okay, give me the facts.
Big Fat Greek Wedding. This came out in 2002. Directed by Joel Zwick. Written by Nia Vardalos, who starred in it, like Anthony said. She plays Tula. A young Greek woman falls in love with a non-Greek and struggles to get her family to accept him while she comes to terms with her heritage and cultural identity.
This movie, what are the ratings on it?
It is a 6.6 on IMDb.
Really? 6.6? Huh. Well, I think it's really terrific. It's super funny, super heartwarming, great romance between the two leads, and I had never seen Greek culture in a movie before like this, in America.
True, yeah.
And it was so fun to see like behind that curtain of that European culture and what like Greek Americans are like and what her parents and family are like, and the whole thing of all the parties and like when her parents meet when his parents meet her parents for the first time, and it's just super fun. It's really sweet how they meet because she works at a travel agency, and he walks past her window, and that's how they meet, and he comes in and says hi. It's very sweet. It gets complicated, but it's not super high drama stakes, but it's still things happen, but it has a really terrific ending.
Yeah, that's true. And when you think about it, like not a ton of Greek films and stories, because I mean, growing up in New England and Massachusetts,
there's like no Greeks.
There's a ton of Greeks.
Is there?
We went to school, a bunch of Greeks. There's a bunch of Greek restaurants.
Yeah,
Yeah, remember like the place on Moody, Demos? That place is bomb.
Oh, Demos was really good.
So like I love Greek food. So good. Gyros.
What's the spinach pie that's so good?
Spanakopita. So like there's a lot of Greek culture in Massachusetts and in Boston. So that's why when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, you're right. There aren't many Greek films, and the story's hilarious. It's very fun. I love the father with the Windex. He's constantly spraying everything with Windex.
Everything. I think he even like sprays her with it.
Yeah, he like sprays her hands and stuff. He thinks it's like a magical elixir.
That's so funny.
Pneumonian or what's
pneumonia.
Pneumonia. No, ammonia. Ammonia.
Ammonia.
Pneumonia.
Yeah, ammonia.
The Windex doesn't have pneumonia. It has ammonia.
Yeah. But that's like movies like that don't get made anymore. That are just sweet, funny family dramas like that.
Well, they still get made, but like not as well.
Not the same.
But the it was super successful. So $5 million budget. It made $368 million worldwide.
Wow.
However, its opening weekend was $500,000.
That was word of mouth.
So that was just ignited word of mouth.
Has that ever happened before like that? That's insane.
Yeah, we've talked about. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was.
$500,000 to just getting snowballed into 365.
We've talked about movies like that. I can't remember what it was. Like it's got to be like the Blair Witch Project was like that.
Yeah,
Blair Witch Project, and then
I feel like Blair Witch had a good opening weekend.
Paranormal Activity was like a word of mouth, like small opening weekend, but just enormous.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We've talked about movies like that, but off the top of my head, I can't.
Yeah, we've
remember all
talked about them.
We've talked about a few movies. All right, that's a quick recap on My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
That was a great job on the spot.
Thanks, man. What can I say? I couldn't have done it without the internet.
I was like, what is he going to say? Next up, we have Pride and Prejudice, which is one of my favorite movies on this list, directed by Joe Wright and stars Keira Knightley. Matthew McFadden from Succession plays Tom.
He does a great American accent, by the way.
Rosamund Pike and Carey Mulligan in two of their early roles. This film has great reviews. It has a 7.8 on IMDb, an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, and an 82% Metacritic score. And this is an adaptation of the famous Jane Austen novel of Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy. And, she's trying to swoon him and then vice versa, and sparks fly. And even though there's chemistry, he's a strange guy and very reserved, and he makes it difficult for her. It's a really great romance. It's one of the best.
That's what she likes about him.
Yeah. But Joe Wright is a terrific director, and he does some fantastic creative filmmaking, a lot of great long takes and beautiful cinematography, as well as a terrific score by Dario Marianelli.
Did he do Cyrano, the new film that came out? Yeah, Peter Dinklage is the lead role.
It's not out yet. It's coming out soon.
Yeah. Pride and Prejudice is great. You have bewitched me, body and soul. It's
funny seeing him as Darcy and then seeing him as Tom in Succession.
If any of you watch Succession,
ridiculous.
It's pretty crazy. But it's just a classic love story. Like you said, Elizabeth, she plays Elizabeth in multiple movies.
Multiple Elizabeths.
Keira Knightley, Elizabeth from
Swan.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Swan, yeah.
She's supposed to marry a wealthy man. That's what her family wants, to marry a wealthy aristocrat or somebody who has a huge house.
A nobleman.
A nobleman, and she's supposed to marry that guy that comes to town, and her family's like, don't worry, she'll marry you, it's going to be fine. And she doesn't want to marry him because he's kind of a weird doofus guy.
Not a doofus. You're such a doofus.
He's not a doofus, but she wants to find real love, and she doesn't, just because, her family is depending on her to get them out of, their situation. They just want to marry her off to be put into a nice house, to have money so that they're taken care of. They don't really care about her feelings and what she wants, and that's one of the reasons why she's attracted to Mr. Darcy, because even though he is upper class, he doesn't act like it.
Yeah, oftentimes what happened back then is that families would receive money for marrying their daughter off to a wealthy nobleman. What is it called? I can't remember what it's called, the term for it, but they would receive a hefty amount of money. It would be
they talked about in The Last Duel.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Not a bounty, but something else. A dowry.
Dowry.
A dowry.
It's part of the dowry.
Yeah, part of the dowry. Thank you. That helped me figure it out. The Last Duel.
You're welcome, man.
Thanks. What could I say?
So basically, I pretty much figured it out.
Who said dowry?
No,
It's dowry. All right, moving on.
All right, next up we have Love and Basketball. This came out in, Anthony didn't write the year. Let me pull it up real quick.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
Was it 2002, I think?
I didn't write the year for a bunch of them. I'm looking at it
2000.
now.
So this came out in 2000, directed by Gina
I think I
Prince
just stopped
Bythewood.
doing it.
2000, directed by Gina Prince Bythewood, starring Sana Lathan, Omar Epps, Regina Hall, and Gabrielle Union. IMDb, it's a 7.2. Rotten Tomatoes, 84%. Metascore, 70%. And this is a really great, not just a sports film, but a love film. It's about these two young athlete childhood friends, Monica and Quincy, played by Sana Lathan, and then Omar Epps, who are best buds when they're basketball players in their youth, but it then shows them getting older and they're high school stars in their own right, and then they go to college, but they want to be together at the same time. And it's just about their struggles where, since she's in female sports, she doesn't have the glamour and the resources that he has because he's at college, at university. It's USC, right?
Yeah.
And he's a star, and he has the lights on him, and
They have a giant budget.
press. He's got they have like the comparison of the weight rooms is a really great metaphor, and then the world's watching his sport, and not many people are watching her sport, and so it's about that dynamic and about them being just as good as each other in their own respective sports, but how one is basically kind of a star and the other is looked past by everybody else.
It's a great contrast, and that's even more so nowadays because like NBA players are making $35 to $40 million a year, which is more than like the entire WNBA.
I think the entire WNBA makes less than $10 million a year.
It loses $10 million a year.
No, but I mean the salary of the players.
Oh wow, really?
I think it's $10 million.
That's crazy.
And versus LeBron making like 45 a year.
Just from basketball.
Yeah.
That's just his basketball salary. It's wild. But we watched this in theaters as kids, and we actually watched this a few times. Like,
we watched this all the time when we were kids. Yeah.
I really liked it as a kid. I was like, this is awesome because we love basketball, and it's one of the best basketball movies just in general. It's a genre that doesn't have that many great movies, and this is one of the top ones for sure. But it's a great, touching story. Has a terrific conclusion to their story, their love story. I really think it's fantastic. The entire team knocked it out of the park, and the actors are terrific.
Got a bunch of your slogans in there. Knocked out of the park.
I haven't said it yet.
You just
I hadn't said it yet.
We watched it while we were kids. I really enjoyed this movie.
I had not said knocked out of the park yet.
I feel like when people listen, they're like expecting and waiting for the slogans to come.
Well, what happens is everyone has their own kind of phrases that it's like in their wheelhouse. You don't even realize it, but you'll say like the same things in certain situations. And one of my things is I say knocked out of the park a lot.
Knocked out of the park.
And I say, you know what I mean, a lot. That's something that I say a ton. Know what I mean?
Touche. Moving on to When Harry Met Sally. This came out a long time ago. I didn't write the year.
Don't even worry about it. I didn't do it for any of the rest of the ones.
Let me go on history.com and get the year. I'm kidding. This came out in 1989. Directed by Rob Reiner, starring Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan, and Carrie Fisher. On IMDb, it's a 7.6. Rotten Tomatoes, 91%. And Metacritic, it is 76%. And it's a great, classic romantic comedy. It feels a lot like Annie Hall in a way, but a little more modern because it's a little after.
It doesn't have Woody.
Freaking Woody Allen in it. But it's still the same kind of humor, very dry. Billy Crystal's super funny in this movie. Meg Ryan's great. It's about like these people who they're friends, and this film's about the obsession of like, can a man and a woman be friends without sex being involved at all? And he doesn't believe it's possible, unless of course they're both in relationships, and then that lifts the spell and or the desires, the sexual desires they would have for each other, according to his narcissistic man persona. In terms of thinking of that, like of course that she'd want to have sex with me, but
yeah. But also the movie, it takes place it opens with just a car ride where he takes her home from college, and that's where they have that argument, and then they reconnect 10 years later, not having seen each other since then.
But it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Obviously, it's predictable what happens. They end up, they
never see each other again.
They end up connecting.
Sally dies.
Jesus. When it's called When Harry Killed Sally. I'm just kidding. It's funny. It's a good time. It's a classic.
No, but it's a great rom-com. It's one of the best, and it really defined the genre for a long time. And Rob Reiner is a very underrated director for the eclectic kinds of films he has made, from like A Few Good Men to When Harry Met Sally to Stand By Me. He's made some, like, every genre he's touched on.
And acting in Wolf of Wall Street as Jordan's dad.
Yeah. I like when he does the British accent when he answers the phone. Yes, that's lovely.
20,000 for sides. The sides cure cancer.
Yes, they did cure cancer. That's why they were so expensive. Next up, we have A Star Is Born, which was directed and written by Bradley Cooper, based upon the previous adaptations in the past. This has Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga, and Sam Elliott rounding out the cast. In terrific ratings, it has a 70.6 IMDb, 90% Rotten Tomatoes score, and an 88% Metacritic score. And this is about a seasoned country musician named Jackson Maine who falls in love with struggling artist Allie, and as she is about to make it as big as a singer, Jackson falls into depression and into his alcoholism. It's a really terrific, wonderful film. Bradley Cooper did a stunning job with the directing. I think he learned a lot from especially David O. Russell because he used a lot of handheld minimalist cinematography. But the acting is some of the best that year. I didn't know Lady Gaga could act like this, and she just killed me with this performance. And Bradley Cooper, too. I think it was one of the best movies of the year.
Yeah, they really knocked it out of the park.
Really knocked it out of the park.
This movie knocked me on my ass the first time I saw it. I wept multiple times. It's tragic, but also beautiful. Incredible music, incredible singing. Lady Gaga is just one of the greatest singers of all time and performers, and she's so good in this movie. Bradley's exceptional. You learn how to play guitar and sing just for this movie. Never done it before, and it's very well made.
He also based his voice on Sam Elliott's voice before he even cast him.
Yeah, and he's in the movie. He plays his big brother. Moving on to Crazy Stupid Love, directed by Glenn Ficarra and John Requa, starring Steve Carell, Julianne Moore, Emma Stone, and Ryan Gosling. IMDb 7.4, Rotten Tomatoes 79%, Metacritic 68%. And this is a fun time. This is a fun movie. You know, really Ryan Gosling plays like this womanizer, and he meets Cal, played by Steve Carell, who's trying to like get women, but he's sort of like Andy from the 40-Year-Old Virgin a little bit.
He's recently separated, and since he was married for so long, he doesn't know how to date again.
Yeah, and so he meets Jacob, Ryan Gosling's character,
Jacob,
who like is a player, and he's trying to teach him how to talk to women.
He's always at the bar in the mall.
Yeah, so like he seems so cool, but by the end of the film, you're like, this guy's a bum.
Yeah.
All he does is like go to the bar and bang women.
The
like,
bar at the
Jesus
mall?
Christ, like what? The same crappy bar. But he's very suave. He's very cool, and it's really funny. And
it's another great LA movie. It's that LA outdoor mall we've been to a few times, and Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling have so much chemistry. Obviously, 3 films together, and this is a terrific pairing between them two. And Steve Carell is really, really great. This is one of his best leading roles in a movie, I'd say, for sure. But it's super funny, super endearing, just a great romantic comedy. It is, I would say, it's a little long.
yeah,
It's like it's well over 2 hours. And I would say if I had one knock on the film, I don't really love the teenager story, the daughter. I'd say without that, it would be a much better movie if you cut out her storyline. But otherwise, it's a fantastic film.
yeah, and you know Emma Stone's character breaks down Jacob and really gets him to fall in love. It's really eventually being a touching film.
Aw. Next up, we have Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, directed by Michael Gondry, written by Charlie Kaufman, starring Jim Carrey, Kate Winslet, Elijah Wood, Mark Ruffalo, Tom Wilkinson, and Kirsten Dunst. This has amazing reviews. The best reviewed movie on this list is an 8.3 on IMDb, which is the highest on this list. 92% Rotten Tomatoes score, and then 89% Metacritic score. I think we've all seen this film. It's after a painful breakup with Clementine. Joel discovers that Clementine erased her memory of him, so he decides to carry out the same service for himself. And while he's undergoing the procedure in his mind, he is going through memories with himself and Clementine and immediately regrets his decision.
Man, how did this movie get on the list of romance films?
It was the second highest requested.
Oh, requested?
Yeah.
I guess it is a romance. There's romance involved, but it's also it's a
tragic.
It's a hybrid.
Tragedy.
It's a hybrid. It's a breakup, romance, get back together, end it. Really, just a mashup of
It ends in
feelings
romance.
and emotions.
It ends romance.
Romance
They end up
or
together in the end.
reconciliation almost.
Well, they end up together.
yeah,
It's a happy ending.
True, it is.
Happy-ish.
happy-ish. It's an optimistic ending.
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
I like that. Optimistic.
It's a
ending.
really great movie. We got to do an episode on it. I think we did a bonus
we
episode.
went pretty heavy on it once.
We did a mini bonus episode on
Yeah.
Patreon, but we've never.
Oh yeah,
we've never talked about it on the podcast. But it's a really brilliant movie. It's
Yeah.
an incredible sci-fi film in general too. Just the idea and concept of being able to erase somebody from your mind, and then
It's genius.
and then Joel trying
Yeah.
to get those memories back after he wants to back out of the mind eraser of Clementine. It's really beautiful. Charlie Kaufman, really interesting storyteller, and all of his ideas with stories and the mind and in the mind, and this movie's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Next up, 500 Days of Summer, directed by Mark Webb, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel. IMDb 7.6, Rotten Tomatoes 86%, Metacritic score 76%. I think we've all seen this. It stars JGL as Tom, a greeting card writer and hopeless romantic, is caught completely off guard when his girlfriend Summer, played by Zooey Deschanel, suddenly dumps him out of nowhere. He reflects on their 500 days together and tries to figure out where their love affair went sour, and in doing so, Tom rediscovers his true passions in life. I think this is a beautiful movie. I have a poster of it. I've loved this movie a lot since I saw it back in the day, and I love the nonlinear storytelling. I love the graphics involved. I think Mark Webb is a very sharp director. This is obviously why he got the job for doing Amazing Spider-Man, because he knocked it out of the park, like Anthony would say with this film. And the musical sequences are great, the dance numbers, and this movie's incredible. It's really, really well made.
It's perfectly catered to his style as a director because he started out as a music video director. So he did a ton of great music videos for about 10 years before this film. So he was suited to the musical numbers and the surrealist nature of the film. And it's really fun. I love the style and tone. I don't think another movie has ever duplicated it, from that voiceover narration in the opening to all the, like you said, the animation and graphics they threw into the film. I think it's extremely creative of a movie. Another great LA movie. You get to see great architecture in LA, and it's about a breakup and how a breakup can be confusing, and you can be very lost afterwards and trying to figure out what exactly happened. And I think we've all been in Tom's shoes at some point or another. And also, I think this is the movie that really made Zoe a star. This was it.
And I think we've all been in Summer's shoes at some point in our lives as well, where you have to do the dumping, and it happens to all of us. We've all been there, I'm sure. And I think one of my favorite movie scenes in general of all time is the expectations versus reality sequence, where Mark Webb has both versions of what Tom thinks is going to happen when he goes to Summer's party on the rooftop at her place versus what actually happens. And I think that's it's really emotional, but I think it's a really terrific scene, and that's one of my all-time favorite moments.
Yeah, because in movies, you don't really see often. We all do these imaginary scenarios in our minds, whether it be of something that we know is going to happen and we imagine what that situation will end up being like, or we'll imagine just even impossible situations or daydream situations that you want to happen but never would. So I think that they really captured that idea really well. Next up, we have Call Me By Your Name, which was directed by Luca Guadagnino and stars Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer. It has excellent reviews, 7.9 on IMDb, 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 93% Metacritic score. And this is a terrific film, one of the best films of that year. In the summer of 1983, a 17-year-old Elio is spending his days with their family at a 17th century villa in Italy, and he meets Oliver, a handsome doctoral student. It's a really terrific movie about falling in love, the uncertainty involved with that, and I think it's a really beautiful film.
Elio, Oliver. I remember everything. I love this movie. I adore it. I've seen it 12 times. I got a poster of it also on my wall. And I can watch this movie any day, back to back, no problem. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful movie.
Back to back.
No problem. Playa, back to back. It's a masterpiece, in my opinion. It's beautifully filmed in Italy and Italia. Luca is a tremendous filmmaker. Can't wait for his new one. Unfortunately, we're not going to get a sequel to this film, obviously, because Armie Hammer wants to eat people. So that sucks because they announced it right before that came out. So we were all excited about them making the sequel, because there's a sequel, but the movie that's off now. But it's really incredible. I think
I might read the book. I'm curious.
yeah, it's I've read the first one, and it's pretty intense, but it's really, really good read.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. I love this movie. We've talked about it. We did it in our coming of age episode.
Correct.
Like a year and
Correct.
almost
Lady
like a year
Bird
and a half
Call Me
ago.
by Your Name and
In
Moonlight.
And that was a great episode. But I would love to do a solo on this because there's so much to talk about. And
So
you know,
much.
Timmy Chalamet. Wow, this is the performance that blew him up. He got Dune because of this. He got all those roles after this. He became a superstar, nominated for an Oscar. Armie Hammer's really great in this, but everyone else in this film is terrific. And I think Luca's a special filmmaker, and the screenplay is exceptional. The story is beautiful, and I love it.
If you like horror movies, he made a great movie called Suspiria a few years ago.
The remake.
The remake. Next up, we have Moulin Rouge, which was directed by Baz Luhrmann and stars Ewan McGregor, Nicole Kidman, John Leguizamo. It has a 7.6 on IMDb, 76% Rotten Tomatoes score, and 66% Metacritic score. A terrific, vibrant, colorful musical about love. The Englishman in Paris in 1899 becomes infatuated with Satine, a singer at the Moulin Rouge. This is terrific. Great musical numbers, great dancing, amazing production design, cinematography, and the cast is amazing. Like, I didn't know Ewan McGregor could sing like this. I didn't know Nicole Kidman could sing like this. They're really phenomenal performers.
And this movie won a ton of awards, right?
Yeah, it got nominated for a ton of Oscars.
Hold on, let me see. So it won 2 Oscars. It won Best Art Direction, Set Direction, won Best Costume Design. It was nominated for Best Picture, Best Actress in Leading Role, Best Cinematography, Best Editing, Best Makeup, Best Sound. So 10 nominations, 2 wins. Incredible achievement. And you know, this is one of the best musicals of all time. Baz Luhrmann, he's a very distinct filmmaker. You know, you could say he's an auteur. He's got his own style that supersedes the film. You know, it's him, it's his vision. No one makes films like Baz Luhrmann.
No one.
Next up is If Beale Street Could Talk, came out in 2018, directed by Barry Jenkins, starring Kiki Lane, Stephen James, and Regina King. This is what she won her Oscar for back in 2018, Regina King. IMDb to 7.1, Rotten Tomatoes to 93%. A young woman embraces her pregnancy while she and her family set out to prove her childhood friend and lover are innocent of a crime he didn't commit. It's a touching love story. It's tragic. You know, this character Tish is in love with Funny Hunt, and she surprised him with the news of their pregnancy. But he's also been falsely arrested for rape. So it's really about the family at next about the situation, but also trying to prove his innocence. And the accuser runs away to Puerto Rico, so that makes things even more complicated. And, you know, everything's stacked against the family as they try to, you know, set up their defense for the situation. It's really tragic, but it's also a beautiful love story. Barry Jenkins is a terrific filmmaker. Moonlight's a masterpiece, hands down. And this was the next film he made after that. And just cinematography, artistry. This is a really beautiful looking film as well.
Well said.
Thanks, man.
Next up, we have Twilight. Put this in there for Casey. Directed
Casey
by
getting a shout out too.
Catherine Hardwicke, which stars Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson,
you wrote Pattinson in the notes.
yeah, and Taylor Lautner. What's funny is I didn't realize I actually wrote Pattinson. I in my head I was like, I'd be funny if I wrote Pattinson, but I thought I wrote Pattinson.
Just habit.
And it has. I didn't know it was such bad reviews. It has a 5.2 on IMDb, 49% Rotten Tomatoes, and 56% Metacritic. We all know Twilight. It was everybody saw it. I thought it was pretty good. I've just never been a Twilight person, but for what it was, I mean, it's pretty impressive how successful it became and how much of a pop culture sensation it became. Plus, it discovered 2 really terrific actors, and I'm just very much excited to see what these 2 actors keep doing. Kristen Stewart was really fantastic, and Spencer and Robert Pattinson is gonna be sensational in the Batman.
Well, I mean, you say what you want about Twilight, we would not be having Robert Pattinson as Batman. Now I cannot say it as Batman without this movie. You know, his career, maybe he would have been an actor and found success with other films, but his path and career would have probably looked completely different if he didn't do these movies. Who knows if his career would have kept going on? You know, I mean,
I think it still would have. I think he has the talent,
but I mean,
he would have gotten a different role.
It would have been a different career. He maybe wouldn't have done The Lighthouse. Maybe he wouldn't have done High Life. Like all these films, it's like different world, different dimension. You know, a different life.
But also, maybe Twilight wouldn't have been as successful without them.
Maybe, probably because the fervor for Taylor Lautner and Robert Pattinson was insane.
Yeah. People were swooning over Pattinson big time.
And Taylor was huge. And then everyone had the T-shirts, Team Edward. Or
Edward.
What's his name in the team?
Edward. Jesus.
No, Edward and what's his name?
Edward and Jacob. Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sure?
Oh, I'm sure.
100%?
Yeah.
Want me to look it up real quick?
Look it up.
Yeah, all right.
I'm pretty sure it's Team Jacob.
You keep talking about Twilight while I'm looking this up.
Yeah, Twilight's just... I know it so well. I know that there's that cheesy baseball game.
Jacob Black.
Jacob, yes.
With the Muse song that plays, though.
A pretty funny ending. I mean, there's that evil vampire who wants... Like, everybody wants Bella. Like they're all craving her.
She smells really good.
Yeah, she smells great. She's got that Manscaped deodorant.
Yeah. Raiders of the Lost at checkout. All right, next up,
the last one on our list.
No, we got two.
Oh, we got two more.
I snuck another one in there.
I'm curious what it is.
You've Got Mail, directed by Actually, since I'll do that, you can do this one.
You've Got Mail, directed by Nora Ephron, starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. It has 6.7 IMDb, 69% Rotten Tomatoes, and 57% Metacritic score. A struggling boutique bookseller, Kathleen, hates Joe Fox because his company, Fox Books, is a giant chain that moved in across the street and is putting her bookshop and others out of business. And however, unbeknownst to both these people, they are secret pen pals on the AIM chat system. Back in the day, all we had on the internet was AIM, and you would just chat with your friends and buddies, like AIM message. So this is what these two do back and forth.
People are like, what are you talking about, Grandpa?
So this is a very state-of-the-art movie in terms of technology. Now it's very, very cheesy. But I think it's a really, really great rom-com. It's very touching. I think, Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks have so much chemistry together. And I just really love this film.
What did they do? 3 movies together? 3 rom-coms? I like Sleepless in Seattle, but you made me realize that it's kind of stalkerish.
Yeah.
Where she stalks like the hell out of him.
They don't meet until the end. They don't meet until the end.
Kind of creepy.
And You've Got Mail, they have lots of scenes together. And that's the whole, that's what you want. You want the chemistry of the actors together.
But 2 of the best actors of the 90s just,
they're icons.
Tremendous movies. Really good time. All right, the final film on the list is 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, yeah.
Came out in 1999, directed by Gil Junger, based on Shakespeare's The Taming of the Shrew. Heath Ledger stars in this with Julia Stiles and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Rotten Tomatoes, 70%. IMDb, 7.3. And Metacritic, 70. And I think this is just one of the best high school movies I've ever seen of all time. Heath Ledger, so young and talented in this film. You could see he was on his way to becoming a star. This is probably the movie that really shot him into superstardom. This, then The Knight's Tale, and then obviously moving on to Brokeback Mountain and The Dark Knight with some other films in between there.
And he was in an Australian drug addiction movie called Candy, I believe. That's really great.
But yeah, you could just see the leading man of the century was Heath Ledger before his passing, for sure.
Imagine what he would have done.
By now, I mean,
it's been 15 years. Like, imagine the movies he would have made.
Yeah, it's crazy. So sad, man, because he was he 40 yet? No, he was 35.
Yeah, he was young. He was 30s.
In his 30s. So
I think he was young, early 30s too.
Yeah,
I think he was 30 when he did Joker.
No, he was 33. I think
33. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, something like that.
I can check.
I think he was 30 when he did Brokeback. No, I think he was 28 when he did Brokeback. And then 30 when he did the Joker.
He's born in 1979, so he died at 28. Oh my God, we were way off.
So he might have been 27 when he did the Joker.
He probably he filmed
because it was in the can for several months before he died.
Yeah, so he would have had to have filmed it by April. So he probably was 28 when he filmed it.
Isn't that crazy?
I didn't know he was under 30 years old.
Yeah,
holy
crap,
he was
super young.
But man, what a talent! I mean, he's in I'm Not There, Candy, Casanova.
Candy, yeah, that's
The Brothers Grimm, Lords of Dogtown. He's awesome. So he still made a bunch of movies before his passing, but it's in The Patriot, obviously. But 10 Things I Hate About You. It's really great. It's a great ensemble
Joseph
cast.
Gordon-Levitt's in it.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is a young kid. Julia Stiles is awesome in this movie. I love high school movies, and I think this is one of the best ones.
Yeah, I think it's really fantastic. It's super fun, super charming. It's dramatic, and the whole cast, the ensemble, did a fantastic job. It's really fun.
And now, before we end the episode, we have a bonus section. For bromance movies.
This is a great list.
Yeah, so we made a list of bromance films. Would you like to read it off?
I would love to. So our bromance movies are Point Break.
Yeah, these are movies you watch with your bros.
Yeah, bro it up, bro.
It's okay if your knees touch by accident. It's no big deal.
Point Break.
The original.
I Love You, Man. Shawshank Redemption. Pineapple Express, Step Brothers, 21 Jump Street, Fight Club, and Wedding Crashers.
But the list is endless.
There's a lot of
bro
them,
movies,
yeah.
but those are some very good ones.
I think that what's the best one on that list?
Best movie on that list to watch with
the
bros?
best bromance on that list.
It's funny that Fight Club's on there.
Yeah.
I think that.
I think Shawshank's the best bromance.
But I love Pineapple Express too,
Yeah.
man. That movie's so funny.
yeah, it is funny.
Step Brothers. But is Step Brothers a bromance?
Yeah.
Not until the last scene. Oh,
What are you talking about? There's like an hour of
No,
bromance
it's not
going
hours.
on.
It's like 20 minutes tops
it's
of bromance.
more than 20
minutes
minutes.
tops. But it's worth it.
Yeah.
It seems like longer.
That's like when you said Will Smith doesn't do sequels.
I don't know what you're talking about. I deleted that.
yeah, sure. But yeah, I think Shawshank is the most endearing bromance of all time.
All right.
It's the ultimate.
Yeah, the movie's about love, if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's a loving relationship. All right, that ends our romance episode. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Be sure to become a patron at patreon.com/Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Happy Valentine's to you all. If you don't have a significant other, then just tune into some of our episodes and you can spend Valentine's with us. Or just watch one of these great movies.
Don't forget to go to history.com.
Use our coupon code for history information. Take care.
And now it's time for our Patreon shout out. This is for our top tier and Godfather tier patrons. Thank you so much to all patrons, but here is the shout out list. Dawson Jolokir, Justin, Caleb Fleming, Michael Karanja, Harry Roscoe, Caitlin Signorelli, Travis Ball, Nikayla Simeona, Jacob Kossler, Jorge Chavez, Caleb McFalls, Dennis, Dylan Workus, Sal Guarnera, Max Rosk, Grayson Younts, Cole Carroll, Christopher Tunnel, Tanner Teagarden, Madison Hamadillo, Barrett Compton, Andy Walker, TJ Rollins, Christian Carter, Nick Sheridan, Nicholas Ozaniak, Caitlin Callahan, Sarai Rogers, Brandon Smith, Sean Harrington, Ethan Storm, Devin Udarium, Derek Noonan, Miriam Ally, Brooke Shanks, Stephen Gaidos, Simon Tews, Brittany Underwood, Jeremy Slattery, Jeremy Benavidez, Cody Moan, Samantha Steele, Frank Caralho, Michael Kelly, Josh Coburn, Joe Lopez, Rachel Von Den Heuvel, Brian Barton, Derek Perkins, Daniel, a.k.a. Just Dan the Man, Olivia Pacini, Megan Costa, Patrick Clausen, Desiree Gonzalez, Joanna Tranina, Anthony Lampares, Colleen Medlar, Matthew Fires, Ariel Tranquil, Spencer Pike, Anthony Farmer, Maxwell McCree, Gabriel Townsend, Hayden Hensley, Odin Childs, Evan Smith, Leslie Miranda, Amanda Hatfield, Casey McWheels, Tom Collum, Adam Beardsley, Anthony DeMeo, Melissa Colguin, Andrew Hagan, Andres Sanchez, Janice a.k.a. J-Nice, William Swift, Angel Godoy, Gabe Beckles, Christopher Leon, Ben Cook, Brendan Dowler, Isaiah Argue, Raul Garcia, Rocky Troop, Amanda Salinas, Riza Lopez, Michael Zarita, Calvin Murphy, Todd Stone, David 767, Patrick Jadani, Lewis Thomas, Guy Adams, Heath Livingston, Sky, Dylan Taylor, Josiah Walker, Alexa Castro, and Tanner Mead. Thank you so much to all of our top tier Godfather tier, as well as our other tier patrons. You all keep the lights on for the show. Thank you so much for your monthly support.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Be sure to subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button, leave a comment. Find us on all audio streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find us. Find us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Raiders of the Lost Podcast. Be sure to check out one of these other videos right here for more content on our favorite films and breaking down all kinds of movie content. Thanks so much.